Good morning, everybody. My name is Zaki Ahmed Raza, and today I'll be presenting a short review of the famous strategic book, The Art of War, by Sun Tzu. This is one of the oldest and most influential strategy texts in history. Even though it was written thousands of years ago, its idea was still used today in fields like businesses, sports, leadership, and personal development. In this presentation, I'll briefly explain the main idea of the book, some important strategies discussed by Sun Tzu, and my own personal evaluation of this whole book. It's more than just warfare. The Art of War was written during the spring and autumn periods of the ancient China by military strategist Sun Tzu. Even though the book talks about warfare, its lessons are not limited to military solutions. One of the most famous lines from this book is: "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." This means the best victory is achieved not through destruction, but through intelligence and strategy. Because of this idea, the book is now widely used in business competitions, politics, sports strategies, and even personal discussion making. Sun Tzu's strategic vision. Sun Tzu views war not simple fighting, but as a system that requires planning, intelligence, and discipline. According to him, success depends more on preparation and strategy rather than just brute force. A good leader studies solutions carefully, understands people whom he is around, and makes calculated decisions. This perspective shows that victory often comes from positioning and planning rather than just direct confirmation. In simple terms, Sun Tzu teaches that understanding the situation is much more important than simply having strength and brute forcing your way through everything. The core idea. The book explains several important strategic ideas. First is knowledge. Sun Tzu knows. He says, know your enemy and know yourself. This means success depends on understanding both your own strength and weaknesses, as well as those of your opponents. Second is adaptability. Sun Tzu compares strategy to water, which flows and adapts depending on the environment. Third is deception. Sun Tzu states that all warfare is based on deception. This means hiding your intention and misleading the opponent can be an important part of strategy. Strategic highlights. I'd like to inform some specific places which I really liked in the whole book. One important thing, Sun Tzu explains the most of the victories are decided during the planning stages before the battle even starts to begin. Another concept is emptiness and fulfillment, which means attacking where the enemy is weak and avoiding areas where they are strong. This could be integrated in our exams also and our day-to-day life. Finally, Sun Tzu talks about the importance of intelligence and spies. He believes information is one of the most valuable resources in warfare. Without accurate information, even a powerful army may fail. We can integrate this into our day-to-day lives, talking about how during exams or during some sort of evaluation is going on, it would be much better if we knew it before we even started. My critical review about all of this. The book has many strengths. One major strength is that its ideas are universal. The strategies discussed can apply to many situations like businesses, competition, sports, or even our academic successes. Another strength is that it focuses on efficiency. Sun Tzu emphasizes using resources wisely instead of wasting them. However, there are also some limitations. This book is very subjective and it's very abstract and metaphorical, which is quite hard for us to understand sometimes in modern technological contexts. Also, the book discusses deception as the strategy but does not focus as much on moral consequences. Like, at the end, key lessons. One important lesson from this book is the non-conflict approach. Sun Tzu suggests that the best solution is often to avoid conflict completely rather than win through fighting. Today, many businesses use these ideas to outperform competitors through strategy rather than direct confrontation. Personally, one key lesson I learned from this book is that most success comes from preparation. In fact, you could say that 90% of the battle is preparation and only 10% is the actual action which we do. My final verdict of this whole PPT. the whole notebook, is to conclude that Art of War remains one of the most influential books on strategy and leadership. Despite being written centuries ago, its ideas are still highly relevant in modern society because of its timeless lessons and planning intelligence and discussion making. I would rate this book a 5 out of 5, top tier. I would also strongly recommend it to anyone interested in leadership, strategy, or improving their discussion making skills. Thank you.